children's blood adrenochrome fake pedophile. Like he's a convicted pedophile. Yeah. Something. Well, it wasn't actually him. It was his dad. It was his dad, but his dad started the church. Then he took over it, and because ScoMo's mate to them and ScoMo attends the church, there was some scandal where they fucking got it covered up. I know.
So many better things to do. Than
but if you talk about that, everyone's like, "Oh, you just believe in adrenochrome."
I do. Yeah. Ellen DeGeneres is just
pure adrenochrome.
That's all she's fucking eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mucked that up last time. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. What a pleasure it is to be here on the 14th.
There's no one I'd rather spend my Valentine's morning with.
What did you get your Mrs. Valentine's Day?
Nothing.
No, you'll do something. Don't try and act tough. Just be honest.
No, we didn't.
You try to act so tough.
Look, I got her. No, we're just going out for dinner.
Where are you going?
The Cut at the Rocks. So nice steakhouse.
Nice.
I just feel like, for us, just going out for a nice dinner, hanging out is better than presents.
Well, yesterday, so last couple of days, I had my business partner down. And we've been doing some key meetings with some of the key stores we work with. And we're in a shopping centre yesterday and I walked past. And because they just had the UFC last week, there's heaps of UFC memorabilia floating around. And I saw this awesome Volkanovski shirt. And I was like, that would make the perfect Valentine's Day present.
Did she love it?
Loved it. It was like $50.
How good.
But you know what?
It's sentimental.
One thing I was thinking, we both genuinely enjoy the UFC, but in particular, Alex Volkanovski. And like I can pay $350 and get some shit flowers that just go on the table and just the petals just fall in my fucking food. They just rot
in 2 days.
And it's gone in 2 weeks. Or a Volkanovski shirt, which is eternal.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, it's kind of funny as well because she gets it, has a laugh, like it's good. And she'll actually wear it.
We're in the city last week, staying there. And
did you see anyone?
Honestly, it must have been, they had like the UFC breakfast. They had something in the city because it was where was the actual, was it at Kudos Bank Arena?
Yeah.
But everyone was staying at the Hyatt Regency. Everyone, all the UFC fans, like it was literally like a bonanza down in the city. I didn't see any athletes, but everyone that was there for like the events and the parties.
Heaps of black cunts would have been around.
It was all bogans.
Oh no, well sorry, I mean like the guys from America because we don't have that many black people in Australia. When there's a sporting event from overseas, there's heaps of black people, and they're like I don't know. It's like they're an anomaly sort of thing because we're not used to them in Australia. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like their mannerisms. And
they're like a cartoon character in front of your eyes, but it's just because you're not used to it. They're like, wow, and you're so I don't know
they just got so much
it's
aura.
Niche. Yeah,
just
so much aura. So much aura.
Yeah.
And you're like you said, in awe of them. And it sounds weird like when I say, oh, black cunts in Australia, but I don't mean that because obviously, in all sports, entertainment, anything like black people are like better at it than any white
They're
person.
just way better.
Bodybuilding, they're better.
It's like whenever you see like a black dude at like a bodybuilding show backstage, like, oh, here we go.
Oh, man.
It's like, oh, no, I'm not going to get reamed now.
Bro, I was talking about this to someone yesterday. In Australia, if a black person's at a competition competing, everyone just gives up.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh.
And the black person might not even be that good, but just because they're black, everyone's like, oh, fuck.
Oh, God,
their aura defeats them before anything else. Yeah.
It's actually funny you say that. to get off topic, I listened to another podcast yesterday about William Bonac. Have you heard his story?
Oh, I fell asleep when it was on, but I know he went to jail.
The story when he went to jail, make sure you go and listen to that part.
Yeah.
Because it is wild what he's done. I cannot believe he's like competing as a bodybuilder.
What did he do?
Kidnapped and stabbed someone 30 times.
Oh my God.
Kidnapped them and stabbed them 30 times.
Remember there was that one year at the Olympia and they had the press conference and someone asked him something and he goes, no, it's not a fucking joke. And he started losing it and getting angry and because everyone was laughing when he first said it. No, it was something about like he thanked the wife, the mother of his kids, and he referred to her as the mother of his kids, and everyone sort of laughed because like, haha, that's not your girlfriend or whatever, and he just fucking snapped and lost it. Everyone just piped down real quick.
After listening to that, I was like, this guy's a hard cunt because the way he spoke about it, I go, this guy's brutal.
With just the roundest muscle bellies of all time.
Yeah, I don't know. He just gets older and older and he just gets more jacked.
He'll just put someone in a headlock and just flex his bicep and that pick will just go straight into their throat and just choke him out.
In my opinion, he'd have one of the most densely compact physiques. It's like you can't put more muscle on that frame.
No, you can't. It's just so round.
Speaking of muscle and everything, we haven't caught up since your show. since your comp.
Yep.
I'm sure the listeners, I'm sure you've spoken about it a million times to me and everyone.
So I'm taking a breath.
A lot of our listeners who are very, I guess, engaged in your competitive side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And last time we spoke on the podcast, I mean, you were hanging on
Well,
for dear
that's
life.
why we haven't been on for a while, because I was just fucking over it. To be honest, I just couldn't be bothered because I was just so tired.
You did so well, though, to get to that point. Like, in years gone past, you did very well. I'll give you that.
Remember the last episode we recorded, I just said nothing. I just was looking at you, and I remember looking over at you, and you look at me going, oh, fuck, he's dead. And I could just tell it in your eyes, you're like, yep, it's really up to me to carry this right now.
He's dead.
And I could see you just looking for anything to talk about, and I was giving like one-word answers.
I saw that. It's like in Pokemon when you're poisoned, and every turn goes past, you just minus 10 HP.
Oh, dude.
The HP was just going off.
I'll get attacked, and then I'll lose 10 HP on top of the attack.
But honestly, at that part of the prep, if you had heaps of energy and you were talkative, I'd say, well, what's going on here?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it and stoke the flame. So in case there's things that I forget to talk about, I won't talk about it too much because it's pretty boring. But yep, did the show, won the national title. That's it.
What are some of the things that you feel were better this prep in the ones gone past, and things that you feel are lessons for next time?
I probably should have been more prepared to talk about this, but personally, I just feel like I didn't come in the condition that I can come in. Like the show, the prep that I did previous to the most recent one, I came in immense condition. This one I came in a lot fuller, but not in condition. And now it's like, all right, now I know that I need to put those two together to bring the best that I can bring. Yeah,
we've spoken about this a few times, and I think I wanted to chat about this because our listeners do really like the bodybuilding side of it. They like that insight. Personally, my opinion when it comes to Australian bodybuilding, I feel like the judges, not that we've got some great judges here, we've got some great critiques of the sport. We also have people that I'm like, I don't know how.
Yeah, it's like
and this isn't a thing about how you would judge specifically. Sorry, this isn't a thing. This is just in general. If I'm looking at the judging panel in their expertise around looking at open men's super heavyweight bodybuilding and the experience levels and what they're looking for, and I just don't feel like there's an appreciation for the level of completeness in a physique where it comes from size, shape, conditioning, fullness. I just don't feel like some of the judges have the expertise, experience, and time in the sport to make a genuine assessment of a super heavyweight physique, if that makes any sense.
I agree with you, but I think also at an Australian level, it's pretty easy to determine the top guys from the bottom guys.
Yeah.
Like an untrained, I could almost go, yeah, that guy's way better.
Best,
Do you know what I mean? It's not that hard to see at an Australian level.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah. I don't want to talk about judging too much.
Yeah, no.
Because it puts me in an awkward position.
No, I won't put you in that position. I'm just saying it from as a spectator that didn't compete, and looking at the level of competition in this country. But look, man, I reckon that was.
But all these things can be boiled down to one simple thing, right? When I hear people ask for feedback, or did you get the judges' feedback, or why the judges, like, man, it's simple. Just fucking show up next time so good that there's no question.
Well, that was one of the best things I was going to say around the show was how you looked in the difference you can make in 1 week in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
because it's almost like you think, okay, the guy that won the week before is probably going to win the week after, but it's like no. A lot can change. And for you to make the necessary changes from, it's like 5 or 6 days later, how crazy the physique can change. And how
let's touch on that. So the New South Wales show, I came second in my category. Biggest slap in the face of my life. I went into that show way too overconfident, and I was like, yeah, I won't need to try that hard here. And I didn't. And, I ended up getting put second, which was like, wow. And I remember being so fucking pissed off about it. The first things I could take away, one, I didn't feel like I was sharp enough. And that was something that Dean and I were working on, Dean being my coach, something that we were working on together. He wanted to bring in a fuller look. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's try it. I've never tried it before. Let's try it before. Personally, I don't think that served to my benefit, but I don't think that's why I got placed where I placed. I think I got placed where I placed because I didn't put enough emphasis into displaying my physique to the ability that I've got to display it. And because that came second, got a slap in the face, I remember getting off stage and literally getting in the car with Angelica after, because I just wanted to leave straight away because I was like, everyone's going to come up to me, talk to me. And it's annoying at a bodybuilding show because if you don't win, everyone goes, oh, and they treat you with this voice of sadness. You're like, I don't need that fucking shit right now. I don't want to be anywhere near this gay, weak energy. I just want to go away and figure out what I've got to do and work on it. So Angelica and I got in the car, looked at each other, and we're just like, I looked at her and went, fuck this. Fuck this. I said, let's go home. And on the way home, all we thought about was, all right, like what was wrong? And I think one of the things that really went wrong for me that day is because while most people think that I'm very extroverted, that's because they're people that don't know me very well. People like yourself know me, I'm actually more introverted than extroverted. That whole fucking day at the New South Wales show, laying on the floor in that shit corridor, I fucking hate that venue. It's the worst venue.
There was no backstage.
There's no backstage. It's the worst venue. And you like, because I was the last category of the day, I was laying on the floor all day and I had people coming up to me, talking to me all day. And I know that might not sound like much, but for me, that fucking gets me so drained and exhausted. So just being there for like 8 hours, just having conversations all day, I felt like, bro, I don't do that anytime ever. Like I'm most of the time just happy to keep to myself and not say a lot.
Let alone on a comp day.
Yeah, let alone on the most important day. So we sort of realized that I was pretty fucking fatigued by the time I already got to being on stage, which that is pussy as fuck, yes, but it plays a factor in a bodybuilding sense when you're trying to display and peak your physique for a certain moment. And then also I didn't put anywhere near as much effort into my posing as I should have. So we talked about what could have been done better, what I could have done better. And you remember, I got home and I said, bro, what are you doing? I said, let's do some cardio right now and go do some posing. So we started doing cardio straight away after the show, started practicing posing the night of the show. And I remember I was fucking just fuming. And as I was walking to yours, I thought, fuck this. I called Tony Doherty. He didn't answer. Fuck it. Called him again. And he goes, mate, I'm on stage. I'm on stage presenting the show. I can't talk right now. And then he goes, can I call you back later? And then I was like, yep. And I didn't even know why I wanted to speak to him. I was just pissed off. I just wanted something. I just needed to just, I don't know, abuse someone or I just need to fucking, I was so angry. But anyway, channeled that anger into putting effort into what I could do to be better for the next week. So we posed that night. We caught up the next day. Beck from Australian Posing School opened up the studio to us to let us do posing there. I just remember just posing rounds there, round after round after round for hours. And I contacted Charlie Duca and caught up with him to pose once a day during the day in the lead up to the show. And I'd spend an hour to 2 hours a day with him. And then I'd go to the posing school at night and refine everything that he showed me. So I was posing for like fucking 3 hours a day leading up to the show. And was that smart? Like, I feel like I needed to do it at that point in time, but it probably would have been better if I just reduced that 3 hours every day into like 45 minutes a day, like, you know what I mean? Spaced it out slower leading up to the first show instead of having to do it so intensely towards the end. But I was also fired up and my presentation and persona on stage really showed that at the national show. And I really genuinely think like, that was probably one of the best super heavyweight lineups that there's been for a long time. I don't know if it was the best ever in the country, but it's definitely the best that there's been in a fucking long time and the biggest. Because there was, how many guys were in there?
Oh, there were quite a few.
I think there was 7 or 8 or 9.
7, yeah. And they were all. Everyone had quality. It was
the
quality.
The top three was good.
Everyone deserved to be up on that stage in that show.
The top 3 was a fucking good top 3. So it was me in first, Chris Abella in second, who was awesome, and then Liam. I don't know how to say his last name. Tui, I think. Tui sounds like the correct pronunciation. In third, and he was great too. So it was a fucking good lineup, and I was just stoked that. I don't know, like. Do I think I'm better than Chris as a super heavyweight bodybuilder? Yes, I do. Do I think he's a great bodybuilder? Yes. And he did deserve to beat me the week before. And even after the show, I thanked him. I said, mate, I'm not like bitter about last week at all. Like I'm actually happy because it pushed me and it made this week more rewarding because I proved to myself that I can cop it on the chin and turn it around and use that as fuel to come back better in that short amount of time, which for me, probably the biggest win of the whole season was just knowing that I've got that character trait where you know, most people in this sport are pussies. They really are. And they'll whinge and complain and blame the judges and blame this. I didn't blame anyone. I looked inward at myself at what I could do better. I did it, and then I won. So it was pretty fucking cool.
Well, we were just honest, like, looking at stage shots or going through your posing, and it was just amazing when we looked at some pose and like, you shouldn't be losing that pose. And I was like, that's not a pose you should be losing.
And it was, and literally like spending the time with Charlie Duca, who, for people that don't know, is a multiple-time world champion and he's a former IFBB pro himself. spending time with him, it was just like, in your side tricep, don't grab here, grab here. And because instead of grabbing my fingers together and like just changing the positioning of how my hands interlocked allowed me that little bit of extra room so I could extend my elbow and actually get into the pose properly. It was just those little things that made such a big difference.
Speaking of that, there should be a bigger appreciation because sometimes we laugh about it and the current crop of bodybuilders always kind of thinks that the old school are a bit redundant or irrelevant, or their training, how they train or how they recover, all the bro science type of things. But I don't know, maybe the last year I've had a lot of interactions with that, that last generation of bodybuilders or the older crop. And there are so many valuable lessons, not specifically with some things around their training, but just having a conversation with them and their experiences. And even you speaking to Charlie, like who he stood on stage with in his prime. And you're like, how many people in Australia can say they've stood on stage next to like, I don't know, Ronnie Rockwell, who's a top IFBB pro, or even we saw Ivan Sadek at the gym. This is someone who stood next to Kai Green and
Dennis
Jackson.
Wolf.
Yeah, these are like,
Branch
these
Warren.
are bodybuilders.
Yeah, from one of the tougher eras of it as well.
And they don't, I feel like they don't get they don't really go out looking for the accolades. They're just peaceful.
Well, they don't necessarily promote themselves in the way that people promote themselves in today's day and age.
I've seen 18-year-olds now on TikTok with 57 cameras and effects and edits and all this, and they've got no physique, yet they are pumping more clients, more money, more views than anyone. And good on them because it's hard work to get that. But I just look at it and go, wow, it's amazing how.
Man, it's the difference between the fitness industry and professional bodybuilding. There's a big difference between the two. And yes, they have some overlap at some points and people might get them confused, but make no mistake, there's a humongous difference between the fitness industry and professional bodybuilding. They're two different things. And the people in the fitness industry, not all of them, but the guys that people look up to or whatever else that put a lot of effort into promoting themselves and coming across a certain way, they're professionals at that. Where bodybuilders are professionals at being bodybuilders. So they might not always...
And it doesn't always end well for bodybuilders.
No, unfortunately not. But
there's only a small amount that have, like, obviously you've got a business, you've got other aspects outside of bodybuilding. There are some that just do bodybuilding and then it always ends in 5 divorces, kids with all 5, and then weird Instagram rants every now and then.
That's where there is benefit to the fitness industry overlap, because if you're smart about it, you can capitalize it on as well. But like you say, whenever I get to come into contact with one of those guys from the previous generation that's been there and done that in their careers in the past now, I like to spend as much time talking to them as possible, because like you say, you might not learn as much about nutrition or science or training, but you learn all about experience, about what to do, how to conduct yourself, also about what not to do. So there's so much knowledge to be gained from speaking to those guys that have done it at the highest level.
Well, even...
and I respect them, bro. To me, I don't give a fuck about there's just so much bullshit. I just don't care. But that guy that no one knows who he is, but I know that he's been there and done it, I'll way rather talk to him than the guy that presents himself a certain way on social media.
I can see, even like when we were chatting to Ivan last week, the two of us, it was like we went back to our like 15-year-old selves and we just sit there, we just listen, because it's like, this is a guy that we were just like watching on YouTube.
But also too, man, it gives him his respect that he deserves, because he's been there and done that, and he might go to the gym and like, just today's day and age, people might walk in and go, oh, he's a big guy, but they don't know what he's actually done. And he deserves respect for what he's done in the bodybuilding field. I don't know him outside of that, but in the bodybuilding field, he deserves a lot of respect of what he's been able to do. So I'm happy. I want to sit there and listen to what he has to say, and I want him to know that it's respected what he's done, because he's fucking been there and done it, man. And it's not easy to do.
It's like I bought a couple of gym pieces from Terry Mitsos. And those that don't know Terry Mitsos, he's like, in the Greek community, he's like the Lord and Savior. Like anyone, if you go to the gym or even just lift any weights, they just refer you to Terry Mitsos. But they don't actually know, like, when I was speaking,
he's competing against Ronnie Coleman.
He literally stood on stage against Ronnie Coleman, and no one fucking knows who he is. And he's got photos against Ronnie, and he's just, they're all just so humble and they just go about their business. But like, to be an actual bodybuilder of that generation, I think it does deserve more just credit.
Yeah.
That's now you're training with Charlie once a week, which is...
I train with him once a week, and it's super like outside of the scope of how I would normally train myself, but that's why I'm open to it as well, because it is a bit different and it's fun and I enjoy it. And we can't forget that there's an element of enjoyment that needs to be put into your training. Yeah. And like that just opens up a whole new thing. Like at the moment, I feel like everyone's starting to turn on science.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I feel like
I love it.
And I reckon the science has a place for sure, but Brendan Kempter, who's a high level natural professional, I was having a chat with him the other day, and the way he worded it was he likes to have an old school mindset with new school methodology.
Yeah,
and I think that was a great analogy to use because there are things from the past that like it's either the person's so focused on doing everything perfect and they're fucking tiny and pathetic and will never achieve anything, but they know a lot, or the person's just a mongrel that will just go hard as fuck and gets enormous, but ends up riddled with injuries. So it's like marrying those two up so that you can be humongous and strong, but also prevent being riddled with injuries. Because if you think of Ronnie Coleman in his prime doing what he did in the gym, if he was to go through and implement a pre-activation routine or sequence or some sort of prehab, he wouldn't have all the injuries that he has now. And I know a lot of them were from surgeries, but he probably wouldn't have needed to get the surgeries in the first place.
There's no way he would have. And again, like just because he could lift those weights, it didn't mean he had to without kind of like a periodized program in place. Like the spinal loading every week, I'm sure he didn't periodize 5 kilos a week with his lifts. He would have been like, nah, feel strong today, let's just go heavy.
Put 2 plates on each side.
Yeah. He'd be going up in 100 kilos a week. You know what I mean? And he could do it, and he did it, but you know, we don't know the...
And that's the thing that I don't think people realize. Like, if I walked into the gym right now and someone said deadlift 300 kilos for 10 reps, I'd probably do it or get pretty close to doing it right now. But the thing is, I'd be fucked for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you put yourself in a risk that you don't need to be.
Whereas if I started at 220 and added 10 kilos a week for 8 weeks, I would do it and I'd still be sore the next day, but I wouldn't be fucked.
Yeah.
I'd be all right. So that's some of the new school stuff that I think people can implement a bit more.
I think just taking training programs into a whole, like you can use that. That's what I do like about the new style of training is just using data from like a long period of time where you can be like, hey, last block, I got to these numbers, this body weight, this level of strength. What are some things I can implement for this next block to target, as opposed to just going in and training shoulders to failure every week.
Yeah.
And then saying after 6 weeks, my shoulder's sore.
Yeah.
And then you lose the time anyway rehabbing the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the worst. But yeah, I find that's that appreciation for the old school. Enough people, maybe it's just my algorithm, because my algorithm is so fucking angry at science, right wing, ruthless. I'm sure there's other algorithms out there where people are just being fed
Mine's
stuff.
Like heaps of racist jokes.
Oh yeah.
Heaps of racist jokes. Heaps of arse and tits, of course.
Speaking of that, I don't understand this because I feel like it's. I literally watch a lot of footy content, a lot of just basic shit. I don't go out sourcing arse. I don't need to. I don't go out sourcing tits. I don't go out sourcing these OnlyFans sluts. But they somehow find their way on my algorithm, and it makes me look like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't go looking for it. I'm like, why is my explore page filth?
I think it's just, probably something to do with being a male and being in your age. They're just like, show him this.
Anything between 24 and like 35, they're just like,
he's gonna like this.
He has to like this. It's just some TikTok dancing.
The almighty algorithm.
Damn it, I can't stand it because I sit there and it's like, let's just say I'm showing Danny something on Instagram. I'm like, hey, check this out. And then it's on my explore page. I'm like, what the hell's all this doing?
Yeah. How did this possibly get here?
She's like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is. It's like, no, I didn't actively search up these asses.
And then you go on hers and it's just some black dude with just the sickest abs ever.
It's just everyone's just peeled and juiced.
Just something that you like, just a black guy. Instantly you see they're black, you know you're never gonna look like that. And you're just like, you are like fantasizing about something that I will never be able to be.
That's not me.
How black he is, how big his cock would be. Like that's what you're salivating over. Okay, sweet.
You're like, okay, well, there's no correlation between
Lana Rhodes. It is just start looking back up.
I saw that she's actually retired from porn, and she's requested that all her videos be removed.
I don't even reckon they're good. She's just vulgar to me. She's not even hot. She's vulgar.
I feel like that industry now with the I feel like people have been desensitized to things because like
massively
20 years ago people would just watch like a Paris Hilton sex tape and it was just bullshit, and it was just terrible.
The amount of times I've looked up the Kim Kardashian sex tape, it has been bitterly disappointed.
It's just
probably 2 times I've looked it up, but it was just, the
2 times it's disappointed.
2 times of bitter disappointment. It's not good. There's nothing because you imagine her when she's at like peak but she's not at peak. She's still first form evolution.
Yeah, she's in the cell. You know, who's the first cell? You know, in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, of course.
Grows
but look, just say
she's got to consume a few NBA players.
She needs to absorb a few black cocks so that she can gain power from them to get to the next level. Yeah.
That's because back then you'd watch like some like mediocre sex tape, like, oh, this is pretty hectic. Now people are literally like vomiting on each other, and people are like, oh, this is it. People are literally just spewing on each other, and they're just
shoving their fingers down their throat.
They're like fisting asses, and then people are like, oh, this is a bit of easy watching. Yeah, Tuesday afternoon,
not pretty G-rated. Yeah, wouldn't you say?
Everything is just like, because I think it's the generation of TikTok and Reels where people have this attention span that's like 0.2 seconds, and it's just next.
Yeah.
Back we had to change chat. I had to watch TV. I had to wait. Whatever was on TV was on TV.
So somehow Paris Hilton has made her way into my algorithm a couple of times. She's not hot, and she wasn't. I don't know what the fuck that was about.
I don't know what that whole era. I don't know what people found in it. I think there was. You know what? I feel like that was a time where people just had to be on TV because there was nothing else to watch.
I reckon also too, like there was just a perception that if you had blonde hair, like you were hot, or you like had a foot in the door towards being hot.
There was that era, all those like.
And the jeans they used to wear, how they were so low to the hip, like now they pull them up. So
and no one had asses.
Yeah, exactly. The jeans were so low, and like their hip bones would show out, and there was no anus to be seen whatsoever. Now it's like pull the pants up as high as you can. And have you seen these pants called Freddies?
No.
Bro, I don't know if they're a thing anymore. I remember they were really popular for a while. They looked like jeans. But I think they're tights, yeah, and they accentuate the anus.
That's when the era came where people stopped going towards the skinny blonde chicks and everyone just liked a bit more thick,
a bit of Armenian,
a bit more busty.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit more Latina.
Exactly, 100%. What have you been doing this week?
You know what? There's a lot happening in my life at the moment, and I struggling to come up for air every now and then. There's just a lot of moving parts, but doing a big renovation at a place in the city, which is.
As soon as you said come up for air, all I can think of is like
Banjo-Kazooie.
Nah, eating pussy and you're on the mattress and your neck is like about to break. That's one of the things people don't take into consideration being like a larger person.
Oh yeah,
bro, the mobility
snorkel. You need a snorkel.
The mobility is gone, and you're just in such an awkward position with your neck, and you can't breathe at the same time.
The worst is when you got a blocked nose. So you kind of like it's like, why are you going down there with a blocked nose? Yeah, but you kind of got to get side breaths in, like, you know, when you like breaststroke.
Any way
like
you can. Yeah.
You just get then if it's quiet, you're just like, damn, I got to put more effort in here.
Oh, how disappointed in yourself are you?
I want to fucking.
You need a reaction. You need a reaction, or you're just.
I don't get a reaction.
Time.
I just feel like calling it.
It's not enjoyable.
Time of death,
yeah, it just becomes immediately awkward. You're just like, what is the point of this?
I'm just clocking in here for my 6 hours of shift. I'm out. But yeah, renovation in the city, from pussy eating to renovating. Yeah, that's been pretty hectic at the moment. Tradies, look, I love them and respect them. I want to be able to do what they do, but fuck me, some have a whinge. I have been just every day getting whinge calls. Some guy will call me like, hey man, do you reckon you can get us some parking permits? I'm like, no. I don't have a fucking parking permit. What do you need a parking permit for? He goes, oh mate, the boys are just complaining that, you know, they're getting a fine every now and then. I go, look, I completely empathize with you, but no. Just go and do the work. And then another guy comes and goes, mate, there's a bit of mess here. Do you mind getting someone to clean this up? I'm like, I'm fucking paying you.
Do you mind getting someone to clean this up?
What do
you?
So anyway, that's just been a bit annoying. But yeah,
the way tradies communicate with one another, like the way the plumber and the builder liaise with one another is ruthless. I've got mates that are tradies, and the emails, like if I send an email to someone I'm doing business with, you know, it's pretty well constructed. Depending on how well I know them, it might be a little bit informal, a little bit have a joke in there, a little bit cheeky, whatever. But these like, listen, cunt, it's not fucking done.
There's no full stops. Oh. There's commas. There's double spaces. Everything's spelt wrong.
What the fuck? It's FUK. It's just
they are. Ruthless, and they just send thumbs up.
It'll be you are pissing like me off. Like it'll just be spelled so wrong.
And they always like I could send a message or an email. They just send you this back.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, but then if they want something, it's just a call. They just call you and yell.
But you know, sometimes when you're busy, like I have this sometimes as well. I'll be going through my day and I'll be in one of those like flow states of the day where this 2 or 3 hours I'm just somehow locked in, not trying to be intentionally, but I'm just doing shit. And someone will message me or something like, yep, just right back, yep. And then I'll go back later, I'm like, oh my God, that was I shouldn't have spoken to that person that way. And then go back later, I'm like, oh, then I'll call them and try and, but I understand sometimes when you are busy in the heat of the moment.
That's one thing that I've really loved over the last couple of years. I'm loving the building side of things, and even things at the gym, like just doing developments. We're looking to do an extension at the gym. That's another thing that I've been working on this week, which is pretty cool. And hustling on buying some equipment. I've reached out to a few people regarding equipment, which is cool. So just looking to just keep consolidating the gym. And
it's funny what you say though about dealing with the tradies. Like, how much more enjoyable and easier is it doing business or conducting a transaction with people that genuinely want to conduct a transaction with you or want to do business with you? Like, that was a large part of the week I've just had and having meetings, was meeting with key people and just saying, pretty much saying, having the blunt and honest conversation. This is what I want out of the relationship. What do you want out of it so I can get that?
Yeah.
And just being so blunt and honest about, okay, well, I need this. And just meeting their needs so that then they will sell more product.
I think it's it's like, who are you interacting with that's a long-term business relationship, people that you can continually go for and trust over a long period of time, or people that are just like, this person's a dickhead, I'll just deal with them once.
But also too, people that are driven to grow.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a business and I can see the person's just waiting behind the counter, eating their chicken and rice, don't give a fuck about growing their business. Or I do a business with someone that they've grown into 5 key locations. They've got a warehouse that they bought the property, and that's where they're sending out their online orders from. Okay, this motherfucker is driven to hustle. I want to work with him.
Naturally, you're going to put more effort into
and also too, because they have a business set up in a structure in such a way that there's key performance indicators for their staff. They have systems in place that get their staff to do X, Y, and Z, where when you just go into, whatever store and the guys say, oh yeah, this is pretty fucking good. Or they've just got products in the shelves that sell themselves, or they're a discount person. Like, they're not driven to succeed and to build something, where the best people to work with, the most enjoyable people to work with are ones that are driven to succeed and build something, because they're the ones that you can bring an offering to and they will give you something for it. It's like if someone says to me, hey, we want $500 for marketing. I'm like, cool, I'll give it to you, but what am I going to get for it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If people want something from me, I'm happy to give it to them, but I just want to know what I'm going to get from it.
Well, funny you say that, because we had an influencer. Fucking so many influencers just have no money, eh? They just have no money. Some of them.
On social media, they make it look like they do.
So that's funny, because we had an influencer come to the gym. Really,
name and shame.
Really
no,
nice.
Don't do that.
Really, to be honest, I wouldn't even know who he is.
Yeah,
he's an influencer, and he was on a TV show. Anyway, he reached out, came to the gym, nice guy, whatever. Loved the gym. We sent him information. He asked questions. We told him what the membership fees were. And then we didn't hear back for a week, no worries. And then he messaged back saying, hey, I really want to train at the gym, but I don't want to pay the membership fee. He goes, what can we do? What can we do? I mean, what can we do? Like, you're going to fucking just come in for free. So then I just said, fuck it. You know what? Let's see if we can get something out of this person. So I drafted up Danny actually drafted up we called it like an affiliate or social media contract. It's like, fuck it. You want to come here? We'll discount the membership. You're still a membership, obviously. But these are what you have to do. And if you break this contract, you either pay full membership or you go. So it's like, I don't know exactly the details, but it was a certain amount of tags, a certain amount of posts, a certain amount of whatever. If you want to come here, we got to get something out of it. Yeah. You're going to come here, shit in my toilet, use my fucking gym equipment, and then you just walk out. Nah. So it's a two-way street. If you want something, we need to get something.
It's transactional.
Yeah, of course.
It's transactional.
You've asked for a discount. We've asked for this.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably not going to go through because someone doesn't want to be tied to doing posts and content out of the place. But anyway, I didn't want to have him just like, oh, yeah, come discount. You're someone. It's like, well, what are you going to get out of you being someone?
Yeah.
And it gets shit.
It doesn't matter unless it's generating more business. And that's the thing too. If someone has 100,000 followers, that's great. But they might not have any true, genuine influence.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? They might not have any actual power. Like someone that has 3,000 followers, but they have impact on them, that's a lot more beneficial because they can actually monetize their audience.
I was actually speaking to someone around having an online business and sales and whatnot, and they said that a lot of consumers are veering away from the follow. Like, let's just say someone who's got 3 million Instagram followers creates a training app. they are going to obviously get busy because they got such a high reach, but their business doesn't continue to grow because people don't trust that they're actually behind it, that they're actually doing the training programs, they're actually working on the app. They just kind of see them as the face or the facade of the app and other people doing the work. There is a larger push towards people who have a smaller social media following, but are very engaging with their social media.
More authentic.
Yeah, because they're like, I trust this person. They're more down to earth. Their business looks like they're actually still working in and on their business. And there seems to be a lot of people with that moderate amount of Instagram followers that are doing quite well on that end compared to the people that are doing, 2-3 million followers, because they're not doing anything. They're not teaching you anything.
Well, I think I've said this fucking million times. Like the best people on Instagram are the people that are actually someone. Like not the people that are trying to manufacture that they're someone. Like not the bodybuilder that's just tagging bodybuilders without borders in every single post.
Yeah,
like, notice me, please notice me.
out.
They just want to be noticed so bad.
Yeah.
Like it makes me sick.
Nah,
it makes me fucking sick. Versus the cunt that just goes and does his thing and, it's organically something people are actually interested in it. But yeah, I don't know. I fucking hate social media.
Look, I'm so
fatigued from it, bro. I just hate it. I hate talking about it. I hate it. I hate that it has such a big, part of everything in society these days. Like, it's just sickening.
I have to get so in the headspace to accept it for what it is before I'd make a post, even someone coming into film, and I'm like, I just have to really get in the headspace because I'm like, fuck, come on, this is very important, and I don't want it to be.
Yeah,
I would rather just not do it, but I'm like,
even for myself, it comes in bursts. Like people probably notice, I'll be super active for 2 weeks and then gone for a month. Like because I don't know. I don't fully hate it. There are parts of it that I definitely do enjoy, but I just don't enjoy it all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes I just want to just not be on it.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. But I in the time since we got on last, we launched our training app, which is great, but it has its challenges. But social media is a large aspect of that, and just having having a social media plan is important. And like we've hired a girl that just makes us kind of accountable to it. Because it's easy for you to be like, oh, fuck, this can't be bothered. But we've actually got someone that's like, I'm here at this time, 2 p.m. we're filming. And I'm like, oh my God.
When it's scheduled in and it's organized, it makes it a lot easier.
But like you can't resent it as much because you take it's like anything. If you want to get good at it, you outsource. And
what do you reckon about this theory, right? Like someone that makes a shitload of money on social media, but they just have to adopt this fucking gay as fuck personality whenever they post or who they are. But they make shitloads of money, or not making as much money, but just being yourself. Honestly,
the second one, because I feel like I would have been gay and made more money. I don't have that much money, so
yeah.
I haven't sold out just yet.
Yeah,
I will always prefer the authentic side of things. There's so many ways we could have sold out, but I don't feel we have.
Yeah,
I don't feel we have.
Yeah, well, no, it's just funny because. If you're relying on sponsors and things like that and relying on other people, or you have a boss or you work for someone, you have to be very cautious.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are your own boss and your own sponsor, you can just say whatever the fuck you want and just represent yourself however you want.
I love when you can see when a girl has had that conversation with herself and she's like, I'm done with this. And then you just see like the capsicum emoji in her story and you're like,
capsicum emoji, 50% off.
You're like 50% off my spicy content. It's like, okay, now she's just had enough.
Bitch is discounting her pussy to make her dreams a reality.
She's just had enough. The thing is, this is what I don't know who I was talking to about. Actually, I think Danny was talking to me about this because she was just like, fuck, man, some of these OnlyFans girls are making so much money. And I said, you know what? No, they're not. The top 1 or 2% are.
Bro, I saw a stat the other day. It said OnlyFans models are making more money than NBA players.
The top 1% are.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? Let's just say you got a girl that's just at the gym. She's, she doesn't have a big following, but she's like, I'm going to do OnlyFans. I want to start making money because she has this idea that she's going to make $40 million. She's now taken hardcore penetration videos. She's put all these photos and videos all out there. And can you imagine she just gets like 10 subscribers?
Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why I
$100.
So this is the real reason I was so fatigued at the New South Wales show. So my dad, who I have such an on and off relationship with have my whole life, he shows up at the show. I'm like, yep, I knew this was going to happen. Unannounced, didn't tell me he was going to come. Yep. He lives in Melbourne, so he made the effort to come. Appreciated him being there. And I was so rattled because He goes, oh, do you know this girl? I go, yeah. He goes, oh, I'm signed up to her OnlyFans. I'm like, so a person that I know in real life, he's signed up to the OnlyFans. He goes, mate, it's fucking wild. She's taking cocks up the ass, everything. And he's just describing it to me. Someone that I know, he's paid to be a part of the OnlyFans. It's like,
you've fallen for the trap.
I was just, but that's just the luxury that he has. He's, over 60 now. Doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't have to give a fuck. It just does whatever he wants.
You know what? Each to their own, and yeah, God bless him.
It was very confronting hearing that on the day of the show. I was like, wow.
I'm just trying to think of my dad saying that.
Yeah, bro, you can't imagine
my dad saying that.
No. Yeah, because your dad's a legit dad. Mine's just like a child. Mine's just a man child. He just fucking hasn't figured it out.
I feel like there's elements of that I feel like, I don't know what I'm going to be like at 60, but I can't imagine me being like my dad exactly.
But the generation's changed now, though, right? Like
he's fused a little bit.
He's very fused. He's amalgamated. He's gentrified.
Yes, he has
with all of it. But
he's a very well kept man.
Yeah, but anyway, but
don't want to go down this path.
Yeah, we don't need to go down this path. But I feel like when you get to that point in your life, like, I don't know. There's certain things you share with your children. There's certain things you don't.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
My dad, we've got this gay dude that's friends with my mum, and he's a hairdresser at the Sun. Really funny guy. He always comes around and for dinners and stuff, for lunch at my parents' house. Anyway, he always just winks to see how much he can make my dad squirm in a conversation. Like, because my dad hates when talk gets too gay. He just
that was the most safest legal way of saying he's a homophobe.
He just when he gets a bit, he can have a laugh, but if I'm there, he just gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we'll be having lunch, and this guy will just be talking about some stories, and I always just look over at my dad, and the story's just ramping up a little bit, and he's like, oh, this guy's cock, or this fucking. Oh. And then I just start seeing my dad do this. Like, my dad will just pick up, like, at the dinner table, just pick up a glass, and he'll just start reading underneath the glass. And he'll just be like, and he'll just look around and start reading, and then you'll just hear him go, and then he'll just get up and just pretend to go for a cigarette or something, and then he would just start laughing because he just can't handle.
I reckon, like, anytime I see your dad smoke, it makes me want to start smoking.
I love it. I wish I just started
smoking. It just looks so relaxing and so peaceful.
My dad just, when I just see, and you know what? He's such a fucking tired ass now. He doesn't even smoke like his old Benson Hedges ciggies. He goes to this like illegal tobacconist that ships him in from China and pays like $10 a pack of ciggies.
Man, I reckon everything is about to get a lot harder to get from China.
Oh yeah.
Like, growth hormone's going to be harder to get, steroids going to be harder to get, everything's because of the Trump, the tariffs, all that shit. I don't know how it's going to actually affect it, like the exact causality, but I just have a feeling that there are about to be some changes made in the illegal drug trade of performance enhancers.
Man, all I know is people in the last month, since all this trade talk and all this shit's happened, people are making the most monumental amounts of money. Because when there's like any it's volatile in the markets, if people start getting scared and they pull their money out, let's just say a big share drops 20%, all these smart cunts are just jumping on it because they know it's going to rebound 20%.
Yeah.
That's the same. Like, one of my clients, he goes, oh, all this talk about tariffs and shit. He goes, one major stock went down 20%, $100,000 you put into it, bounced back 20%. 48 hours later, he's $20,000 more.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
That's what all this shit is. It's just manipulating the markets. And I just feel like I just want to get in, but every time I get in, I feel like I lose.
Yeah.
It's like jump on the crypto. Damn it, I'm down $5,000.
Yeah, it's like my goal is to make 50 grand from crypto this year. Good news. It's February and I've only got 70 grand to go.
I've just lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, fuck. What were we talking about?
I don't know. Smoking.
Smoking. That's it. Yeah. Fuck. I wish I.
Oh, so after the show, I don't know why, but I had in my head.
Did you have a ciggy?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, fuck it. So we went out for dinner that night, and it had a great group of friends there. Dean was there. You were there. A lot of my friends that came down to Melbourne were there, and the dinner was awesome. I don't know where we went. It was somewhere nice.
Italian place meal. That was really nice.
Yeah, it was good. And we went outside, and Marcus had a packet of ciggies, and he lit one up. And I said, "Bro, can I have one of those?" He gave me one, and I lit it up, and I just took the biggest drag of it, and instantly it was terrible. I was like, instant regret. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. The idea of it is better than the act of it. Did you envision it just to be like? I thought it was going to be like,
because you had a singlet on, you were juiced up after the show, hair was, you just felt like just having a big fucking puff.
Oh, I just thought, like, I don't know what I imagined it to be. I imagined it to be like just like a warm, rich mahogany style like inhale, but it was just ash and tar. It was just so bad. It didn't live up to it at all.
Did you ever smoke when you were younger?
Yeah, all the time.
I never did. My brother did. My brother fucking died.
He still smokes.
These are vapes now.
Oh, vapes, yeah.
Vaping's, I just can't stand them. When I say the vape, it's just like addicts. Like they just go like a quick little vape
Man,
in between.
it's crazy. Like even being at the show, there'll be people that in the foyer they would have a vape inside, like competitors. Did you see any of them do it?
Everyone was vaping. The bodybuilders are the worst.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've got such addictive personalities.
Yeah, but so I was speaking to Taylor Crabtree the other day, who trains at our gym. He's a young up and coming coach. He's a very good coach. About vaping actually, and he explained it to me. But essentially, what happens is you get that spike in neurotransmitters, like, and you feel really good when you have it. But then what happens is it drops down lower than what it was before.
Oh, I see that. So that's why you got to have it again to get the high.
And each time you do it, it brings you up, but then it brings you lower than what you previously were. So it puts you in more of a hole.
That's why they just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. For me, I know if I start anything, I will get addicted to it. So
I've been addicted to so much shit in my life, and I've like, as soon as you decide to quit, it's not hard to quit, but you just have to decide, okay, I'm going to fucking quit now.
Yeah.
The only thing, I've never been addicted to any hard drugs, but I've been addicted to drugs before. But as soon as I say to myself, okay, I'm done with this, I just can just kick it instantly. And that's when like, I'll post that I'm having a serve of pump juice before training. That is more than sufficient what I need before training. Someone will go, oh, you should have one of these fucking Zins with it, which is like a what are they? Nicotine gum or something?
Okay, yeah.
And people are taking nicotine gum before training. I'm like, bro, I don't need to form an addiction to something.
No.
I don't need to get addicted to something. I'm going to have 2 scoops of pump juice. I'm going to get a gargantuan, glorious pump and leave the gym feeling good without being addicted to anything or having that junky feeling of where you're like, I need to have this or I'm not okay. You just want to be okay all the time. You don't want to need to have something to feel okay. You just want to feel okay.
So I'm like that with coffee, but not because I'm addicted to caffeine or the taste of coffee. I just like the routine of having a coffee in the morning, like going for a walk, having that coffee. It centers me ground. It's like a bit of an anchor for me. Like I just like the idea of the coffee.
Yeah.
Same with steroids. I don't think I'm addicted to taking steroids because I hate taking them. I am addicted to training and performance and goals and progression in my training.
That's an interesting topic though. Like I think steroids are addictive.
I feel like what they give you and the results of them are, I feel like actually taking them, I'm like, I hate taking them.
But there's a psychological component to that in that, yeah, the administration of them might not be enjoyable, but if for some reason you were to go a month without taking, you'd be like, fuck.
But then I feel like when you get to a certain point when you've been off them for a month, then you kind of switch in and go, okay, well, I'm going to try and be the best version of this off steroids, but you're always thinking when I get back on.
Well, you have to go through that, but also I agree with that, but also you have to go through that period of like being okay with, okay, I'm coming off now.
Yeah, see, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's the hard part. When you go through that period of, okay, I'm coming off now.
Because I enjoy, like right now where everything is in my life, I'm really enjoying my training progression. So for me, if I was to come off, then my whole outlook and perspective on training is different. I'm not going to be hitting the goals and numbers that I want to be hitting. So then my expectations have to drop. Not in that mindset right now.
You've got to prepare yourself for it.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I'm sure you'll agree with this too. Once you do go through that and you do come off and you have been off for an extended period of time, you're like, wow, I feel so good mentally.
I wouldn't mind feeling like that again.
There's so much clarity, and I'm just experiencing nowhere near the amount of head noise, because there are studies, and this is where, like, I think where a lot of the science stuff, I think a lot of the science and shit around training, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just train hard to the point where you have force and adaptation from the muscle, but not to the point where you've fatigued your central nervous system so much you can't train tomorrow.
That is exactly what training should be.
Yeah, train to the point where you force an adaptation from the muscle, but not so hard that you've induced an injury or that you can't recover to train again tomorrow. Then just get the fuck over it.
Just don't do curls like Mike Israetel.
Yeah, just don't be anything like him. But then where science is important is in the PED aspect.
Yeah.
And fuck, what were we talking about? I got thrown off there from the Mike Israetel thing.
The addiction to testosterone coming off, the clarity around coming off.
The clarity around coming off. Yeah, just that type of shit. That's where it's important, I think. I can't remember exactly what I was going to say, but just to keep talking, because we're on a podcast, we need no dead air. When you do come off, it is a very nice feeling of clarity, and you are able to function a lot more. And now I remember what I was going to say is that there is a study that shows that steroids do make you less intelligent. They actually do affect your brain chemistry in a way that makes you dumber. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that's it summarized.
Damn.
Yeah.
fuck, was there a
But when you come off, you get smart. You get smarter again. When you come, your brain powers
on
increase.
steroids, dumb cunt.
Yes.
Off steroids, intelligence.
Yeah. So when you see me in front of a whiteboard doing equations,
I know you're natural.
You'll know that I'm off everything.
You're off everything. You're
When I
clear.
can't put a sentence in, like fuck, the cunt is really on high dosage at the moment.
I love when bodybuilders like write like a bit of a brief about their training and they always have to throw in, they're like, I'm natty at the moment. It's like, mate, you've taken steroids for 25 years straight.
Yeah,
And now you're writing natty because you've been off for 4 weeks.
And that's part of the psychological component.
off for 4
That's like justifying why you don't look as good as what you would normally look.
Yeah.
But imagine if I wasn't, how much better I would look.
Natty.
Or I look this good, natty. Imagine when I'm on, how much better
It's
I look.
like those esters, you've got fucking oil in your delt that has been there for 10 years that it's just seeping.
It's never going to break down.
It's never. You got cysts of
It's just a
juice.
cyst just leaking into your system just on a time release.
You are never going to be natural.
That's like when people ask me a question on Instagram, and someone will ask, like this is not for me. Everyone, I'm very open about everything I do. But when I see someone ask a question, "Oh, are you on anything at the moment?" Like, yeah, I'm. They say, what do they say? Natty peanut butter or some shit. They make a joke around it and dance around the question, don't answer it. It's like, cunt. It's blatantly, and this is females as well. It is blatantly obvious that you use some form of performance-enhancing drug. I don't know why you hide it. I don't know why you're embarrassed about it. Like in today's day and age,
People are too educated now.
It's not a taboo thing. It's not a taboo thing. Like, but also too, you just preface it with, yeah, this is what I do, but I'm not in a position to educate you on what you should do.
Yeah, correct.
And I think that's the important part to note, because while I might do it, I don't want to encourage or educate other people on what they should be doing, because I don't know what they should be doing. And I'm not in a position to educate them. So yeah, I do it, but don't copy me. But I have someone that advises me on what I should do. I have a coach that tells me what I should do and when I should not do it and that type of thing. So the like, and I think too, because in the fitness industry, everyone always fucking makes out they know everything. And they never want to say, I don't know. It's very okay to just say, I don't know. You know what I mean? What's the best
cycle?
It's one of
the most empowering things to just say I don't know, because then it's like you can just listen.
But everyone on their Instagram, they feel like they're the center of the universe, and they feel like because someone asked them a question, I am the authority. It's like when someone asks me, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? I don't fucking know. This is how I manage it my best, but I don't know how you should deal with it.
Yeah, it's nothing to do
You
with
know what I mean? Just because you asked me doesn't put me in a position of authority on this topic over you. If there are things that I do know, I will answer that honestly, but there's certainly things that I don't. And just because you asked me, or anyone on Instagram, that person that's being asked the question, the answerer of the question, the answer giver, they are not the authority on that. And just because you ask them, that makes them feel like they are. So they never want to admit, I don't know.
Isn't it amazing every time you put a Q&A box up on Instagram, if you answer one question about performance-enhancing drugs, you just answer one question. Then once
it just sets the tone.
Once the people see that, the question box just goes, just fills up with
Man, don't ask me about performance-enhancing drugs. Go on Sam Pearce's page. He'll be happy to talk about it for a week. He'll be happy to talk about this, talk about that.
His whole page is dedicated to performance.
Never do this. His whole page is dedicated to it. Ask Sam about it. He wants to talk about it.
They love
Yeah.
that. He's found a niche with that.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's his thing.
He's the performance-enhancing
Ask Sam about it.
Juice, ask Sam.
WWSD, what would Sam do? Ask Sam.
More.
Yeah, up the dose.
I have noticed in the last few years regarding performance enhancing drugs how people's baseline like milligram usages, I don't know what it is. I find that it's less now than what it was 10 years ago. I feel like 10 years ago it was just like common standard practice, 1 gram a test, 450 trend. Everyone just had these these numbers that were just like, you have to do those numbers.
Well, that's it. Everyone now goes off the milligrams per kilo of body weight.
But that makes more sense, because when I was younger, it was like, I had people advise me like, oh, you never take less than 750 test. You're wasting your time.
Yeah.
I'm like, back then I was like, yeah, 750 test. Now, I don't think I've taken 750 test in 10 years.
And again, this is not advice of people, anything that we say about steroids, what we do, but over the Christmas period, so normally the best cycle for me is testosterone and masteron. I feel the best on that. I get the best results on that. I don't get any head noise on that. I feel really, really good. My sex drive's high on it. Everything functions really well on the combination of test and mast. And over the holidays, I ran out of mast and I wasn't in a position to get any more at the time because no one was doing anything, or they were overseas or whatever else. I couldn't get any at the time. So I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to run higher tests. So I'm just going to do IIFYM, if it fits your milligrams. I fit my total milligrams with just test. Man, I felt like shit. I was emotional. I hated my life. My nipple felt like it was about to explode. It just wasn't worth it. It was just so bad.
Testosterone is your best friend and if it's abused, can be detrimental.
And that's me doing this mistake now immaturely at this point in my life where I've done steroids for a significant amount of time. Like, yeah, you just have to just make smart decisions, and you don't always do that. And fuck, whatever. Who cares? Just train and just take some juice and train and eat the food and just fucking
train,
keep doing
eat,
it.
and shut the fuck up.
Seriously.
We should touch on, because it'd be good just to, what happened in between. The Mr. Olympia happened in the last, we won't go into the depths of it all, but I know you're a big fan of, we're both fans of Samson's physique.
Yep.
And he finally won the Olympia. What are your thoughts?
Was that my
around-
prediction? I think it was my prediction. I
For the
think I made a
Olympia.
prediction.
You did.
I finally won one.
Yeah, you won a
I
prediction.
finally won.
You won a prediction.
You won a prediction. Have it.
You won a prediction, but I was very happy for the. Something felt wrong about having Derek and Hardy winning the Olympias. Not because they got great physiques, but just I always look at them as 212 style bodybuilders. Although they're bigger than that, they just have the stature of a 212.
Well, it's interesting because if you think back through the history of the Mr. Olympia competition, and if you think of when Joe Weider ran the Mr. Olympia when he was still alive, each bodybuilder that would do well was a specific character for him, and they portrayed something. It was almost more like professional wrestling. It wasn't necessarily the best bodybuilder would win the show. It was whichever character Joe Weider wants to build up
To represent the sport.
It's like for him, when Lee Haney was Mr. Olympia, if you think of Lee Haney, Christian, family man, doesn't do anything, very great physique, the best physique at the time, but he didn't sell anywhere near as much supplements as someone like Rich Gaspari would have, because Rich Gaspari, the young, hungry guy, fucking killing it, training hard, aggressive, whatever, a little bit outspoken here and there. Like that type of character was way more appealing to people than someone like Lee Haney was. So when Joe Weider was running it, I feel like there's an element of politics in bodybuilding at some point. It might not determine the outcomes and the winners and things, but there's a fucking element of politics in everything. Like nothing is free of a political agenda, and definitely not bodybuilding. So when Joe Weider was running it, he was building up characters like Chris Cormier was the party guy. Fucking Kevin Levrone was the rock star. Flex Wheeler was the karate black sick cunt that's flexible.
Ronnie Coleman was the cop.
Yeah, everyone was like some sort of character. And Nasser El-Somebody, like the year that he was to compete, that everyone reckons he should have beat Dorian.
97.
So if you think of Nasser El-Somebody, right, and Dorian Yates, this mythical, hardcore guy, disappears. He was the Shadow. That was his character, the Shadow. Nasser El-Somebody gets on the microphone. I don't want to answer any questions.
Yeah, didn't want to talk
He's
to
like,
no one.
what would you advise someone that wants to get into bodybuilding? Don't do it.
Yeah, I love that interview.
Yeah, I love it too.
Everyone.
He's like, who do you
everyone.
look up to? I don't look up to anyone.
He's like, sorry for this, but no, I don't want to
Yeah,
answer.
the thing is, this interview, there's no point doing this. He just gets up and leaves. He's not a character that Joe Weider felt they could use at the time. I feel like that character would do a lot better in today's day and age because there's no nonsense, no bullshit. But that wasn't the era of social media. That was the era of print media when everything needed to be like an 80s, 90s wrestler, WWE, like
Characters
Attitude
were
Era.
massive.
Yeah.
There wasn't access to things. You couldn't access. You had to buy their video battle for the Mr. Olympia. You didn't get to see them a lot of the time.
Where now, like, it's the best physique wins.
Yeah.
Where, you know, if you think about it, like Derek Lunsford, he's like, if I was to think of what his character would be, it would be like white picket fence, golden retriever, praise the Lord, Christian, right wing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He just embodies that.
Yeah.
He just embodies that.
I thought that was a big factor into why he won another
He embodies the all-American American.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And Hardy's the complete opposite.
Hardy's the complete opposite. He's
Doesn't
deaf.
talk English?
Doesn't speak English. He's deaf. Crazy physique.
Yeah.
Training style is absurd. Like, have you watched in the videos?
Spinal with the T-bar.
Man, but look how hard he trains, and
Yeah.
the results are there. Like,
Yeah.
that to me, I know everyone says genetics and this and that, but that cunt trains heavy.
Yeah.
And he trains hard, and he's built his body up to be able to tolerate that level of punishment that he can recover from it, and he gets the results. His form is atrocious, but he's the second best bodybuilder in the world at this point in time. And how's he achieved that physique? Just through fucking training hard. You think there's any reps in reserve in anything he's doing?
No RIR.
So like, the proof's in the pudding sometimes. Success leaves clues. He's very successful because he trains very fucking hard.
And I've noticed that with Samson as well, with his training style, there's not really much. He just fucking goes hard.
There's no logbook. There's no measuring. It's just,
hard,
today I'm going to do this.
It is fucking hardcore.
And like, you know, I like to have an element of measuring what I'm doing. I enjoy that. I find that fun because I like having a performance-based goal. I want to beat this number next week. I like that. But you know, based off what we're seeing, it just shows that if you just train fucking hard and eat a lot of food, take the drugs and sleep, you're going to grow.
That's the formula.
That's at the end of the day, that's just what it is.
That formula will run a lot of people out of business because they're trying to sell another story or another gimmick, but that's what works.
That's the truth of it, yeah.
That's the truth of it.
Train fucking hard, eat a lot of food, implement some logic, take the appropriate amount of performance-enhancing drugs, and sleep a lot, and the results will follow. But I think the thing that does need to be applied to that is logic.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a scientist to tell you, if I do 100 sets really heavy and really hard, I'm going to be so cooked tomorrow that I'm probably not going to train for a week. Like, you can use some logic to apply.
You can work that out on your own with how you feel.
And sometimes it just comes down to thinking about things. Like, and this is another one that logic needs to be applied to. When someone says, oh, I'm going to start going into a calorie surplus, so they start eating calories from fucking meat pies, Subway, McDonald's, and full-strength Powerades or Gatorades. Yeah, you can sustain that for 2 days, and you might put on fucking 6 kilos of water weight in 2 days, but your digestion's going to be fucked. So you need to apply some logic. Okay, I need to eat as much food as I can from sources that I can digest well, that allows me to do this continuously all year round, versus do it for a week and then it becomes so hard that I'm just fucking over it.
And they go back to a deficit to do a diet break or a diet cleanse or some shit.
Consistency is the key. As gay as that sounds, as many times as people have heard it, consistency is the key. And that's like one of the things I just get so fucking sick of hearing regurgitated in the sports nutrition industry is this particular line: creatine is the most researched supplement there is. Every time someone breaks down creatine is the most researched supplement there is. And it's like boring for me, and it's boring for people that have been around for a while. But then, yes, you have to take into account the new people coming into the industry. They've never heard that before. It might be the first time they've digested that piece of information. But for fuck's sake, I don't want to hear it again.
No. I'm done.
Unfollow, mute, see you later. You placed third place in your class at a show overseas to get your pro card. Doesn't count.
And on that note, that'll see us through for...
No questions. No fucking questions. See you again in 2 weeks. Here's a tub of pump juice. Go into the closest supplement store to you and buy a tub of it. If they don't stock it, ask them to stock it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
2 scoops of pump juice, 2 scoops of your creatine. That's my go-to.
That's my go-to as well. Sometimes a bit of a stimulant in there in the form of dialed carnage, but 2 scoops of pump juice, go and buy some.
That's a wrap.
Done.